That was 92, 93?
No, it would have been a bit later, I think. The first project I ever did here was the opera Centre. And again, I arrived here with no company being here. The project was underway, and I arrived and had to set up the entire 𝐘𝐔𝐍𝐈𝐓𝐘 company again. So again, it was parachuted in on my own. I think by this stage I'd become a little bit more accustomed to it, but it still took a little bit of getting used to. And again, arrived, and I must admit, I have very fond memories from back then. The Opera Centre does remain one of my favourite buildings, by a local architect. I'm sure you know Doran Stefan.
Yes.
I still think it is a wonderful building. But at the time I was doing that building, it was one of, let's say, it was a very notable landmark going up in Bucharest. It was highly talked about. And I also believe that it was on the route from the airport to either the Prime Minister's or offices, etc., because we did get a phone call saying without publicity, he's asked if he can come down and walk round the site, etc., because it was one of the first modern Class A office buildings that was around. And as I say, I still think for its age now, it still is a very good looking building.
It is a landmark.
Lot of good times there. Met a lot of good friends doing it. And I think the project still works even now. I still look at it with a great deal of pride. I think construction, one of the other things that I've always held, I feel pride in projects. You are leaving a landmark, but you're also leaving something that people are going to use. And once you've finished a building, the sense of achievement is actually quite a lot, and it does become personal. I know I got told off because I took my job too personally, but I think that it's right to do that, because at the end of the day, it's my efforts to try to go into that building to make it the best that it can be, because it's going to be around another 20, 30, 50 years, and people are going to be using it, and you want those to feel the benefits. So I do have an enormous, as I say, sense of pride once I see the finished objects. And it's one of the reasons I love construction. You are leaving your name in a way that none of them are my projects. They're always from another developer, but my involvement will always feel personal to me, that I've left a mark within these varying different countries that I've been, and I haven't just gone, taken stuff and then left. I hope that I've given back, even for all the places that I've been, but I've made it slightly, whether it be one building or 12 buildings, it's slightly better moving forward. And I still hold that sense of pride. And I think without it, I don't think I could do what I do. I don't think there's any way that I can just go another building, there you go. I think I have to feel the building. I have to understand what it's there for, what it's trying to do, and who it's trying to perform for, even to the extent that, you know, you want people in it coming out feeling happy, and you even feel happy that you're making them happy. I know it all gets a little bit strange at this stage, but it is how I feel. If I can bring a little bit of joy.
Good. It's not strange at all. It's when we first talked about us together holding two microphones in front of our faces, the Unity Talks, that is. I was very excited because I am one of those designers that nobody knows that they are using their objects. And I went to the like national radio one day, and they had a cup that I designed, and I said, "Oh, where did you have that?" Somebody gave it to me, and they said, "It's the best cup I ever had tea. The whole aroma comes in," and I almost said, as a matter of fact, I did it. But when we first talked about this, it was that there's so many people influencing our lives, anonymous influencers, which is quite a thing to be. Nowadays, you want to be influencer that everybody knows you. But we know that there are many, many people influencing our lives, and they're completely anonymous. So you are one of those people, working on projects that you hope to make people happy.
Most definitely, and to be honest, I like the anonymous side of things. I must admit, I'm not very much in the pub, but I go into a project looking at what it is to achieve for those that are going to reside in that building, and as I say, I think if you can add anything to make a day better, it's good. I mean, I'm not saying I can reinvent. The architects that I've worked with have been fantastic. The engineers have been awesome. Nobody can do this thing alone. But I do sit there and take my own little bit of pride in how it's put together and how it got developed. I know after I did the opera here, which again, as I say, I loved it. The developer of it asked me to relocate over to Prague, which was my next move, where I got to do a shopping centre. And again, it wasn't really my
cup of tea
as a build, but what it did, and it goes back to something I mentioned earlier, it got me learning again, because I'd done offices. I kind of understood offices. I knew. But when it came to a shopping centre, everyone sees the front of it, and this is quite easy. There's shops, etc. But in order to produce a shop, you have to think behind the scenes, what else is going on, who else needs to come, who else needs to operate, what they need to do. And again, it just took my mind, and I had to change my thought patterns around again to sort of say, right, what am I trying to achieve this time round, etc. And that learning, and again, the delivery of that project, it's just enjoyable. I'm pleased I enjoy what I do. I think that's a benefit. I've always enjoyed construction since I was 18, and now I'm going on a lot past that, but I'm still enjoying that. And I think that's the excitement, that you can keep learning in construction, because buildings are changing, but peoples are changing, and people changing causes buildings to change. And this just keeps going round and round. It doesn't stop. I've seen it with the offices. When I first started offices, it was cubicles and everyone was in a little cage, etc. Then it became open plan. Then it kind of became partial with cellular offices. And people keep changing, or the way people want to work keep changing, and those demands keep coming round, and you have to keep reanalyzing them. So just so you think you know it for one building doesn't mean you're going to know it for the next building, even if it's an office. Things keep changing. Things have to be updated and continually done. And mainly because people keep changing and keep adapting, and different generations are used to different technologies and lifestyles, and so each change has to follow the next route round.
Well, then how lucky are we to be in this business, to say? Because after the pandemic, clearly there was a lot of screaming about how everybody will change, from designers to architects to engineers to consumers to users. We are all in this another type of melting pot of behaviors that we struggle to change, stabilize, to give them a name, hybrid, non-hybrid, nomad, no nomad. And we know that will pass. We are now on the high curve of the bell. That will go down because that's natural. And but I think that, going back, it's not a Sisyphean kind of endeavor anymore. We really know that we get to the top of the bell, and then things will be fine. And that resilience, I think that it's matter of fact, the experiences that we had, it doesn't matter, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. In 1 year, you can have a valuable experience that can last for your whole life. So it doesn't matter how long that was, but the more experiences you have and the more open you are to whatever the world is throwing at you, the more resilient and more fresh you'll keep your mind moving forward. And you get excited. Yeah. You get excited. We have to change. We have to change. No. Yeah, no, that's good. We have to change.
I think change is always good. I think one of the issues, the one thing I constantly thought is everybody tries to pigeonhole everybody.
Yeah,
it's everybody likes this or everybody likes that. That's never going to happen. I think what needs to be celebrated is that people are different. People are, and I'm not even just talking in genders or race. People are different. Full stop. Any
Period.
Two individuals can bump into each other, and people are just different. So what you've got to try to do is you've got to try to develop something that welcomes as much as possible all different needs, wants, wishes, which it's obviously easier to sort of say, right, everybody acts like this. Let's build this type of building because everyone will do that. But people don't do that. So it's variety. It's give the people that want to be quiet, the quiet space, the people that want to be communal, the communal space, the people that want to be out in the public space, the people that want to be in sort of nature, the natural space. It's the diversity of the offering that I think needs to keep consider. And again, even if we think we crack it this time, things will change again, and we'll have to re-alter and update again, and it is a cycle. But I do get, as I say, I've been through many different office designs that's just saying everybody should work in a cubicle because that's what everybody likes. Everybody doesn't like that. Everybody should do this because that's what everybody should do. Again, everybody doesn't like that. I think you have to open it up a bit and say, let's try to cater for the widest diversity of wishes and needs that we can manage. And then each person will find their own right place within that environment or system. And that's one of the things, obviously, working here is what I very much enjoy, is the exploration into how people wish to perform. And what is it we can do? Let's not take a blueprint from project past. Let's try to create our own new blueprint. And that to me is fascinating because, again, I'll go back to it, learning. I have to learn different abilities and skills and thoughts, etc., in order to be able to get my, let's say, head and mind around the concept of unity. And it's got to come. It's great because we have obviously an inspirational that's passing it down, but you've got to get through that. And it is one of the prime reasons I enjoy this. Again, it's this whole brand new, fresh look at something. Don't look at past, look at future, look at what's going to happen, look at what people want.
Now you understand why people are so excited that you're in the building now, because talking about this project, we'll jump over the pandemic, right? Which we spend actually almost every day working on a new on another project, which was the immune building standard. This is where I found out how meticulous, pedant, stubborn you are to make things click properly. And every day you come into the office with like, okay, let's see what Gavin has to say, which was our barometer for the pressure of intensity that we had. I have to say that was a fantastic project that I never thought in my life that will I start study the way buildings are breathing, if they have temperature or not, if they have any viruses, how do you give an aspirin to a building? That's a whole story behind that. People don't want to learn what the building is doing for them because everything is behind the walls. We don't want them to see, all the guts and pumps and lungs and liver of a building. But I realize that although we spend this 90% of our time in the built environment, there is somebody who's actually taking care of the building. And we are not talking only about facility management. There's smart people, engineers, designers. There's a full technology that was updated almost, every month that we were ingesting books, and it was so exciting for me. While everybody was bored at home, they didn't know what to do to themselves. I felt so lucky that we shared this project together. And then Unity.
As I say, the process behind Unity is second to none. It's not trying, it's moving things to the next stage. I hope so, because the way, we speak to a lot of great engineers, it isn't a single entity. In order for something to move forward, it needs a lot of clever people. And then luckily they are the clever people, and my sort of role in it is try to put all those clever people together in an organized way. I'm more of a logic and logistics kind of person.
Very annoying.
Very annoying.
We all know. Yeah.
But, it depends on those great thinkers, but behind there, somebody's got to keep pulling the strings to say, well, this makes sense, this goes on. And I think, again, it's going back into my past. I've never been able to kind of accept something unless I really understand it. I can't just say, oh, yes.
Lucky you.
If I don't understand it, I need to keep inquiring. And sometimes, obviously, you do put you're out there.
I got a taste of that, something that felt for somebody logical and, had all the data behind. You were like, but hold on a second. Yeah. What if? How about that?
Yeah, as I say, if something doesn't tie up for me, I just can't sweep it away. I have to, and sometimes it's very difficult because you're putting yourself out there, and the answer actually may be a lot more simple than you really anticipate. And when it finally clicks in your mind, you do get that sort of moment of, oh, why didn't I get that? But even though you are putting yourself out there for that type of embarrassment, I think it's still not the wrong way to do it, because in order to move forward, you need to know that those steps are correct. And if you don't know and you're just taking it because other people think so, then you're moving forward and you're not quite understanding it. And I think I need to understand it. I just have to get to the bottom of it. And once I understand it, I will drop into it and I will click along the lines and I will drop in with everybody. But I just need that connection in my own mind. Even if 5 other people are saying that's what it is, if I can't get it, I will still keep asking the logical questions until it will click. But the advantage is sometimes that turns around, because sometimes it won't click. And what's happened from 5 people that just think it's to be taken, suddenly it not clicking with me actually resonates back, and suddenly it won't click with them. And they've realized that there is something not quite correct, and then it can be readdressed. So it's always, okay, you're putting yourself out there, but it's always asking that question just to make sure. And as I say, fortunately, a few times it has gone the other way, that because I've been so obstinate, let's call it, and so stubborn, that actually
Not
it's
obstinate.
turned the other
I
way.
would use stubborn. It's obstinate. No, I wouldn't say that. But
it can turn back, because, as I say, the thing...
it could come that way. But I mean, but it's, well, you made a brand of yourself with this stubbornness. And I can't tell you how grateful we were many times when Gavin didn't give up on us bringing everything on the table to align to his. And I have to say, I think this is what makes a great team. I really think that, and I feel very comfortable here and upstairs, and a few of the floors in this building, and I'm excited to come here because we have all this combination of characters and personalities and abilities and histories and cultures, and exactly what you align. You made a very good timeline of do you want to wake up happy in the morning, going to whatever you want to do? Open yourself to experiences, man.
Yeah.
Be out there, and don't be frightened. The future is never late.
Absolutely. I'm a firm believer, and as you say about the class of people we have here is unbelievable. But I'm also a firm believer that what here is doing right, it's the community side of things. I think the first thing about, let's say, the operations is people. It's all about people, how people want to interact, how people want to gain experience, what do people, and that the communities, etc., are leading that way. And to me, that's the way that a building should be thought about. First, it's not how does the building look, how does the building stand up, how does the building operate.
Yeah.
It's actually, what is it supposed to do for the people that are in it? And you've got such or certainly here at Unity's got such a great team behind that people experience, that the building should be catering for what they want to provide, the hospitality that they are presenting, and the building should be facilitating that desire. Not just, it's a lovely building, how does it look, etc., or how does it function? All important stuff. But the primary reason is, how is the building helping the hospitality of the human service that the building is providing? So I always think it's that way round. And when I look around and see the events that are being taken place here, you can understand why there is a look to how do we redesign things? How do we think, what is the purpose for it? Because I've seen the event and they're fantastic. So it's the space to give the ability to produce those.
We are lucky to have people who want to contribute to this whole idea that the pandemic is gone. We are in a huge paradigm shift, and you can't be left only wearing a mask and worrying that it will come the next one. Life goes on. We want to contribute to tomorrow, probably to next generations. That I like that a good man is one that is planting a tree under which shade he will never rest. So we talked about this with the immune, and to leave something behind, not with the title of a legacy, but with the title of, somebody will have a better day just because we did this.
I mean, when we looked at the challenge, and again, there was a lot of people involved in looking at it, the technical side of it, etc. I was particularly, let's say, hit hard during the pandemic from a personal side anyway. So I kind of had a lot of raw emotion about it. But my view was anything that we are in a position to help with, we should. There's no reason to find out for, let's say, one building, which we're doing, what could help if you're not going to tell everybody else. I just thought the idea of it was collecting a lot of information from a lot of clever people, but then trying to put it out and let everybody help themselves, because, as I say, it wasn't a nice period. As I say, I was personally affected by it, which was hard. And it's just like, if you can do something that helps protect somebody from going through something similar that I had to go through, then it's all been worth it. Why would you try to hold that? No, you have to do it. You have to get it out there and arm people, companies, whoever, with the best information that they can possibly be given. We're all in the same boat. We all want to get through and come out the other side as little affected as we possibly can. So get the information out, get buildings protecting people, inform them of what can be done, what are the protection measures that can be undertaken. So, as I say, because of my own circumstances anyway, I felt a little bit more in there to try to make a little difference. How much you'll never be able to quantify or gauge, but just by the fact that hopefully something within the measures of many measures has helped somebody. I'm hoping many people to have maybe got through the pandemic with minimal lasting impact.
Right.
And it was a little bit personal for me. So, it took a lot to think. And as I say, anything, when you're in that thing, going through that situation, anything you can do, you want to do. You wouldn't wish what you had to deal with on anyone else. So it all made sense. And, again, I applaud the vision to take that on board. Many wouldn't have said, right, let's try to help the buildings. Let's make a list of protection measures for buildings that will help people. But I had the foresight to say, let's do something about it. Let's not be passive and just sit there and take it all. Let's be, sort of out there pushing and trying to find some measures that we can take to help ourselves. It's easy to sit back and just cross your fingers and hope everything goes well. It's another thing to say, no, we're going to find it. We're going to do as much as we can to find solutions.
Which is fair enough for anybody to say.
Yeah.
But also, we talked about, and we are going to leave it here just because the unity isn't complete. We had a lot of confirmations from the pandemic and post-pandemic that the concept of this, and dare to say, the way we'll work in the future, which was first initiated like 10 years ago, but little by little built. And now the pandemic started to confirm a lot of decisions we made to describe diligently this concept. And then at the end of last year, actually in the fall, we came to completion to one of the parts of which is the public realm, which is right at the door of the office. And it's something that it's not loud. You can't see it from both the streets. And but when you walk in, you say, let me take a moment. And we were very happy when you walked into the building for the next phase. And I don't want to give away anything what's going to come, but this is one of the reasons we wake up fresh in the morning and go to bed exhausted.
Absolutely.
But that's a different thing. But the future is there. It's not late, ever. The future will never be late. And we want to be at the party when the future is happening.
Absolutely. As I say, I think we always have to be aware that the future will still always be the future. So even when we think we've got there, there's another future out the front. So everything will keep moving. And that's the way, as you say, that the first part of Unity is out there and people know. The second part is being thought about. The third part is being thought about. There's a continual think line on what it is that is what people will require, and nobody is a mind reader, etc. It's a lot of just looking at the market analysis, looking at the people involved, looking at the trends that are coming, and trying to take the best opportunity to forecast how that may or may not evolve into a property space. And even when we think we've got things on paper, they constantly need reviewing. Nothing is ever stagnant. Nothing is ever done. Let's cross that off. It's finished. Put it away. Everything keeps needing to be rethought about, re-looked at, reconsidered. And that's, looking into the future. And that's the exciting bit, that Unity has opened up its doors, but there is still much more to come.
That's true. Well, thank you for being so brave to come from the top floor to our humble studio. I have the privilege to talk to you almost every day. I'm very pleased that you told your story, and I know many details from the stories that you told, but we don't have a 2 weeks podcast. And maybe on the finishing of the next stage of YUNITY Park, we'll review that again, and we'll see what kind of experiences this stage of our lives brought into to be worthy of telling.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Thanks very much.
Thank you for being with us today. Don't forget to subscribe, and I hope to see you next time.